Welcome back to another episode of If They Won't Listen, It's Space, made in a Hollywood basement. I am your number one Lieutenant Commander Leon, and beaming aboard. Hon. Wait, I got this. I messed up. Wait, I got it. Oh, don't die on me. There he goes. Welcome aboard, Captain.
Hello. What is going on, Lieutenant Leon?
Not much. Dealing with a fallout from an accident.
Yeah, you had a deep voyage there, huh?
Deep voyage, grabbed by the hand, reamed up the ass. It was a whole thing, and it sucked, and it still sucks. But you know, it's one day at a time. And we were supposed to do the recording of this episode last Tuesday, at least, or last Monday, and then it moved up to Wednesday, then it moved to Thursday, and we just never recorded it because I was just having a bad migraine. And then that Thursday, my memory was so shot, I completely forgot we were going to do a recording on Thursday night, and it was just, it was like one thing after another. It was ridiculous.
It's good as long as you're feeling better, right?
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there with more treatment that I'm going through with a chiropractor. Mm-hmm. Just I can't even lift weights. I'm not even doing the resistance band. I'm just doing yoga. That's all I'm doing. Yeah, yoga is good because it still straightens the body, but it also strengthens the back, which is good because my spine is a little right now. My spine and over here on the parts of my neck they're pretty jacked right now. It sucks. But enough about my accident. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about a cult classic favorite here, a little film from 1999, something called Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest, a movie with a synopsis about a sci-fi TV show that had a strong following, and when the cast of a sci-fi team is beamed aboard what they was thought to believe a set, turns out to be an actual spaceship on a mission for diplomacy to to achieve peace between two alien races, but one is more hostile than the other. In for a situation from out of the frying pan and into the oven. That's my sin. That's a bad one.
I'm wowed by that.
Wow. I know. That was the best I could do in my synopsis. Boom. Yeah, so you got anything to say, or do you want to go right into some of the facts about it?
Well, hold up. I feel like this is a more relevant film for you and I, as opposed to the earlier Star Trek films. So,
yes.
What was your first introduction to Galaxy Quest?
My introduction to Galaxy Quest, since it came out in 1999, I remember watching First Contact as a kid when it came out, and that's Star Trek with the new generation, Picard and all of them. Mm-hmm. And I was familiar, and then of course I was familiar enough with Star Trek to know that the whole premise to Galaxy Quest was to poke fun at a what if the tapes of Star Trek went up somewhere in space and was retrieved by an alien race that thought these are actual documented records of a starship crew. Mm-hmm. And then they go down there, they come down to Earth to take them so they can have them negotiate, with a peace with hostile aliens. So I was already familiar with Star Trek in that way. So when I went to go watch Galaxy Quest, I knew exactly not exactly, but I knew what they were making fun of. Mm-hmm. And that was my first. And let me put it to you in the perspective of my father. If you went by my father, you would think it was the most hilarious movie to date, because I remember watching.
Oh, is that right?
Because besides watching it this past week, I watched it for the first time in I don't know how many years, probably more than 15, maybe even longer.
Oh, wow.
This year in July, and my dad was just dying of laughter. The movie just still holds up for him, and it's still a very funny movie to this day. What about you when you first watched it back in 99?
I think it was I didn't really catch it in 99 because I was a little bit too prestige-y back then as a teenager. I was like, no, I only see mature adult classic
hard sci-fi. I'm all about that hard sci-fi. Parody shit at my face.
Jesus, something like that. Something like that.
So you didn't watch it back in 99. You watched
I didn't
it.
watch it, but I caught it off of HBO when they would do like their little reruns of it.
Right.
So like in like 2000s, I was just like, that would be on HBO all the time. It'd be complete to just have it going all the time. So I'd rewatch that movie like at least 200 times.
Oh,
And
damn.
it was like one of those things where I was like a closeted fan about. It was just like I can never really come out to anybody and be like, Galaxy Quest, that's an awesome movie. It's like, no, I hadn't been like, oh, this movie's really awesome, but I can never tell anybody about it.
That's how I felt about watching Sailor Moon when I was a kid. I get it.
Word. See, that's funny. There's kids out there watching Sailor Moon, and then I was watching Charles in Charge. I really didn't get the better end of the stick on that one.
Yeah, I will tell you, it was one of those because we were still dealing with in because we didn't have like what we have currently with the whole My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Steven Universe, these shows that are very, it's like, hey, it's okay to be sensitive. There's really, I wouldn't say no gender, but there's a fluidity to the gender and gender stereotypes and or roles.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have that so much not even back in the early 2000s. It started being more of a late 2000s kind of thing, early 2010s. You know, like right? I remember that's when it started being like, all right, you like My Little Pony, but you're a grown ass man. Who cares? Good for you, kind of thing.
I got a feeling that was like Bob's Burgers that did it for me. I was just like, I could be like a Little Pony fan at like 34. That's great.
Questicles.
Questicles. Is that what they're called? Questicles?
That was a poke at bronies, but they called them Questicles because it's like you're a brony, you're a bro that's into ponies, brony. But then for Bob's Burgers, it was Questicles. They're into Equestronauts, but they have testicles.
Oh my god,
that was a fan. I've seen that episode a million times. That is a great episode.
That is a great episode. And the Tina Belcher episodes are always gold.
Yeah, they usually are. I don't want to get too far off into this deep end of Bob's Burgers. So, but you were kind of, but you were kind of circling back. You were just closeted about watching this movie and not being, which is funny because the movie has a huge cult following. People, especially among Star Trek fans. You would have been among brothers if you had just came out and say it.
I forget how they coined the term, but it's something, and I'm paraphrasing here. It's like some of them consider it to be the best Star Trek movie of all time.
Oh man, that's a part of my fun facts. But so one person summed it up as that it is a Star Trek. It's a love letter to Star Trek and its fandom. It covers two bases. Covers the fact that it's a Star Trek movie, but also being a love story to the fans themselves. And it really, really does show, especially after watching a lot of the Star Trek that I watched up to now, including these 6 movies that we watched. And then going right into Galaxy Quest, it was just, I caught references. Great, just absolutely great. You know, the fact that Sam Rockwell plays a character, he was crewman number 6 and he ended up dying in episode 81 or 51 or something like that. He was just a red shirt in the series.
Guy with no last name.
Guy Fleegman.
Oh right. God, man, that stash is absolutely incredible.
Oh, Sam Rockwell's mustache was great. Let's get into our fun facts. We'll go right into the actors really quick, but let's start with Sam Rockwell. It's noted in the production of this movie that the producer of this movie actually had to get down almost on his hands and knees, or down on his knees, begging Sam Rockwell to take the role, because originally Sam wasn't going to do it.
Is that right?
That is correct.
That's really fascinating because, like, I could see somebody wanting Sam Rockwell like that. Sam Rockwell kind of reminds me of like Harvey Keitel, not so much with like picking out the same roles, but more or less picking out diverse roles in their filmography.
Right.
And like that's the thing about like Harvey Keitel. Like he's got a couple, like he's known for making a couple of gangster films, but when you really think about it, he's not the great gangster actor that like De Niro, Pacino, or Pesci is really known for.
Yeah.
And with him, it's like he's done everything. Like he's done Bad Lieutenant, where he's like all drugged out and everything, and he's like losing money to the Mets, losing to the World Series. And then after that, he's like doing the piano, where he's like all tattooed and doing like a naked, like a naked set in the rain or something like that, if I recall. It's been a minute since I've seen that, but the thing is like he gets all these collectively different roles, and that's like the thing about Sam Rockwell. If you look at his filmography between like the 80s and 90s, like it's incredible, like just the stuff he keeps popping up in. He's got a cool cool little 2-minute scenes like all in the 80s where it's like he's in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
and
he was.
He's like, would you like regular or like menthol? It's just like, what? That's Sam Rockwell? And then after that, he's like in a Susan Sarandon Defoe movie. It's like he just keeps popping up, and it's like every time when you see him, like, oh, that guy. He's almost like a better looking like he's also like a more handsome like that guy of like Steve Buscemi. Where it's just,
okay, yeah, where you see
like,
Steve Buscemi in films, like, oh, it's Steve Buscemi, but then you go, oh, in this case, they're going, oh, it's Sam Rockwell. I love that guy.
Yeah, but it's specifically in the 90s. It's really funny. Like Steve Buscemi was not Steve Buscemi to us. It was like Steve what?
He was that
Buscemi?
He was just that guy with the lizard eyes.
Yeah, exactly. And then like it took us to a certain point where like everyone knew that Steve Buscemi was a household name. And like that's how I feel like that, you know, Sam Rockwell is. It's like he just somehow became a household name by like by this time and on.
Yeah.
I really think like Galaxy Quest is like that starting point that really blasts his film career up.
He's so part of that. He's so part of that fandom, and a lot of the people that were on that movie just really enjoyed being on that movie. The writers, the director, the producers, the cast members, the crew, everyone had fun with this movie, and it shows so much. It shows so much in the film. All right, so
and I like how everyone's alienated, no pun intended, with their own little things. It's like, you know, the TV crew's working on like figuring out who they really are because their identity's lost, and then you got the alien crew themselves who are just like, hey, listen, we don't know any better. We took this as like historic documents. This is like, you know, Battle of World War II. Like, we just need some help here. And like, it's cool to figure out how they learn and discover about like the truth and everything. And then it's just like, you got the fanboys who like have the greatest story arc in this whole movie, who are like, they're like looked down upon. And then by the end of the movie, they are needed upon. Because
they know every schematic and layout.
Yeah.
Of the NTE of the NT, what is it, NTE 3105? I think that's the number.
I just called
the NTE 3120.
3120, yeah.
Yeah, also known as the what do they call it? Not the Peacemaker, they called it something else, and I can't believe I didn't write it down, and I hate myself.
The Questmaker.
The Questmaker. Now they had a specific name for the ship itself, and I'm spacing on the name, and I hate myself so much for not writing it down because I'm better. I'm better about these things. I am so much better about these things.
Don't beat yourself up.
The Protector. The NSEA Protector. There you go. All right. So you want to get into more of the cast?
Yeah,
big cast. We have a big cast, so I'm not gonna try to go through everyone's what you remember them for or whatever. But let's go through this. So we had Guy Fleetman, played by Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
Who if you know The Green Mile, he was in Moon, which is a great movie. Hitchhiker's Guide. I've never seen Moon, by the way. I just keep hearing it's good. I'm one of those guys. But
it's good, but at the same time, it's almost like canceled out now because of Kevin Spacey.
Oh yeah, because of cancel culture. Anyways, Tommy, also known as Loretto, was played by Daryl Chill Mitchell, who, if you don't know him, he was the teacher from 10 Things I Hate About You and in House Party 1 and 2. He's another house party guy.
love those house parties.
Yeah, and then the younger version of Loretto, Tommy, was played by Corbin Bleu. If you don't know who that is, he was in High School Musical. All right.
Wow, we have a really young fan base then.
Yeah.
They got High School Musical. I'm very surprised
Right.
by that.
Fred Kwan, who played Tuck Sergeant Chen, was played by Tony Shalhoub, which I am a huge Tony Shalhoub fan. I think he's one of the greatest gifts to man in terms of films, because he's always good in what he does.
Yeah. I am a fan of Tony Shalhoub, but I'm not too hopped up on the stock of Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, in the film, he plays his role like he is the true alien. Like out of everybody in the film, this guy is like the most alien-like.
What the producer of the film was very saddened that they didn't really utilize him enough and gave him enough lines, so he had to do a lot of facial and physical acting.
Awesome.
And
Less is more.
And he did so well at it, because one of the things that Tony was playing off of was that he was stoned, but you didn't see it on screen. It happened somewhere off screen. He was getting high, and then it was just the reason why he was acting that way. And then Sam Rockwell was quoted that that Tony Shalhoub was playing a failed Scientologist in the movie. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll get it. I'll get on board with that. Fair enough.
I really don't see it.
I didn't see it myself, but whatever. I saw more of a guy that was just a pothead that was just very fascinated with everything they were saying and completely okay with it, that only a pothead would have been.
I mean, yeah, I get where they're going with the pothead, but like I feel like with this movie being so family friendly, it's just more enthusiastic, like fun to just think of him more as an alien, as opposed to just being a stoner. It's like, oh, you're like Cheech and Chong's like nephew or something like that. It's like, all right, that's semi-creative, but a little tacky at the same time.
Nice. Yeah. All right, Alexander Dane, or also known as Sir Alexander Dane, also known as Dr. Lazarus, played by the late Alan Rickman. If you don't know him, he was in the Harry Potter series as Professor Snape.
Hans Gruber and Die
Hard, of course, and then Dogma.
Yes, as the voice of God.
The Metatron.
Yes, and then he was also in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, as Sheriff of Nottingham. He
is a great, well-rounded actor. He can do comedy, he can do drama, and he's good in it. He goes right into the role. He gets right into his roles really well, as perfect as putting on a hat or a pair of shoes.
Yeah, here's what's really cool about Alan Rickman. It's like anything you see him do, you take it for literally it being its own little character, and you never see him get repetitive in what he does. So like any role he does really has its own distinct like feel and emotional like kind of character arc to it, as opposed to being like, oh, that's Alan Rickman just being Alan Rickman.
Right. It's the same thing with like it's the inverse of that would be Tim Allen. You see Tim Allen, he's playing Tim Allen.
Yeah, but this is the best version of Tim Allen.
Right. I completely agree with you. But that's what I'm saying is, when you see Alan Rickman, it's not Alan Rickman playing Alan Rickman. Like Zooey Deschanel is Zooey Deschanel in every role she plays.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And it's really funny. It's like I'm watching this and I'm like, part of me that really thinks this is like Alan Rickman's best performance because of how much range he goes through in his character.
Oh,
from complete disgust with this too big character in his eyes, with cheap dialogue. At least that's what I'm assuming from him, because how disgusted he is when we first are introduced to the character.
Yep.
And to watch the evolution take place between Act 1, 2, and 3, it's like all of a sudden, like nobody gets more reinvested into their character than him, and to watch the transformation of that is actually really awesome.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Just as good as Gwen DeMarco, Lieutenant Tawny, played by Sigourney Weaver, which Sigourney Weaver, you have her on the back, she's right behind you right now. Tell us what you know her from.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver, known as Ellen Ripley in the Alien franchise. Also known as Dina Botlin in Ghostbusters.
There is no Dina, only Zool.
Only Zool. That's right. Dude, I saw her live at a Q&A about like 5 years ago. They were
Yeah.
doing the 30th anniversary of Aliens in New York. So you gotta like, there's like a journalist who like interviewed her right before the film, watched the film, and then after the film, like the audience gotta actually ask her questions. And I'll tell you something. That was one of the best things I ever went to, is to see how interactive and live she was. And like she's a really humble human being. Like she goes like, she's like very modest about everything. She's like, yeah, like I was in Aliens, like, I was merely, I was really intrigued to this. And like like when you listen to her talk about her characters, like like you could tell that like if she's not sold on the character, there's no way in hell she's doing this film. Because it's like the emotional response she gives about playing Ellen Ripley and
Did
all that
she talk?
stuff.
Did she ever at this event? Did she ever talk about how she got into this role for Galaxy Quest? Did she ever mention that, or was this before that?
No, well, no, I mean like, well,
This is definitely after this movie.
it's definitely after, but I mean like somebody could have definitely asked that question. I mean,
Right.
it's in the sci-fi realm.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. No, nobody really got into that because like here's what happened is like one person who was at the Q&A was just came out of Afghanistan and stuff like that, and they were mentioning how she has PTSD and she would watch this film and like it would help her out because like she was like the things that Ellen Ripley were going to is how she felt she was emotionally going through. And it was just like as soon as like we got to that like kind of tone for the questionnaire of the night, that's kind of like where it was like all about of like being more grounded and really exposing like the everyone's character arc and how they get like a certain sense of fulfillment. And I was just like, oh, this is not how I was picturing it go. Like I thought like somebody was going to ask about her like one like Roman Polanski film that she was in, and it was like it didn't even go there. It was just like absolutely fully dedicated to Alien. She is again very humble person, like took a lot of questions, like didn't waste anybody's time, and it's just like the greatest brush of fresh air you can have. Like the way you're seeing her perform in the movie is kind of like how she is in real life too.
I can see that. And I'm always happy to know that a celebrity is as nice as they are is just nice. It's just a nice person and is willing to talk to a fan, barring that the person's not being super annoying.
Yeah.
Right. And
you mean the celebrity or the fan?
The celebrity, the celebrity, no, the fan themselves not being too annoying to the celebrity, where they're like, oh, quote that line for me, or say this, or do this, or on production, just bombarding them with questions when they're just, dude, I'm here to just fucking cash a check right now.
No, it's true.
Well, like, I'm waiting in line just like you are, buddy.
Do you got a little fun fact about Sigourney Weaver and Tim Allen?
No, actually, but I do have a fun fact about Sigourney Weaver. Was that I don't know if you knew this, but this movie was originally supposed to be directed by Harold Ramis.
Yes.
All right, so you knew that. All right.
I knew that.
Harold Ramis wanted only people who have never been in a sci-fi film.
Yes.
And because he's worked with her before in Ghostbusters, which technically is kind of a sci-fi film.
It's a sci-fi film.
In its own right. It's a sci-fi film. And the fact that she was an alien in Aliens, she's already has a sci-fi. But she really wanted to do this movie. She read the script and wanted to do this movie. But when she heard that Harold Ramis is only looking for people with no sci-fi experience whatsoever, it really kind of devastated her. She really wanted to be in this movie. That's my fun fact about Sigourney Weaver in this movie.
All right, I just to add on to the Alien bit before we move on, is that Tim Allen is a big Aliens fan.
He's a big sci-fi fan in general, but tell me your fun fact.
So he was just like every day during shooting, it was just like, can you sign this like Alien like merchandise I have? And she was just like, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. And like I guess he was just a little bit too obnoxious about it because like she wouldn't do it until like the last day of filming. And then it was just like Tim Allen gets it and she signs it and everything. And it's like stolen by Tim Allen. Love Sigourney Weaver. And it was just like it was kind of more like an annoying signature thing as opposed to like being really friendly with it. And like Tim Allen looks at it, he's just like, oh, broke my heart. You broke my heart. Like I really wanted this properly signed, and now it's crap to me. Thank you.
Speaking of Tim Allen, he's the main character, James Nesmith, also known as Commander Taggart. You know him better from Home Improvement, Last Man Standing, and of course the Santa Claus.
Toy Story.
And Toy Story. He's Buzz Lightyear. Yeah.
Buzz Lightyear. Yeah.
He's Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, of course. Great. I don't know. So here's another thing. Harold Ramis met with Tim Allen and didn't see it. He just didn't see him being in this movie at all. Nobody's
more Shatner than Allen.
And Shatner said he wasn't trying to channel Bill Shatner whatsoever in this film. He says
because he doesn't have to. He has his own ego of aura, which is similar to Shatner, but its own identity.
It's his own, yeah, it's definitely its own thing. I think I watched the documentary Never Surrender, and anybody here that's a fan of Galaxy Quest, you owe it to yourself to watch this documentary because they even bring in cast and crew and even Star Trek cast members to talk about this movie. And it's a very humbling experience to watch this movie. To watch this documentary. Have you seen it yet?
I've seen it. Yeah, no, it's good. I find it really impressive how this movie Galaxy Quest came out at a time where the Next Generation movies were being aired. In between this movie being released.
And don't forget the fact that Star Wars Episode 1 came out the same year as this movie in May.
Yeah. But yeah, and there's that too. But I was just like, it just hit me that like Next Generation was not doing the fulfillment that it needed with the previous 1 through 6 movies of Star Trek. And Galaxy Cast is this self-loving parody in all the best ways possible. And they accomplished doing something that TNG couldn't. Yeah.
They made a Star Trek movie.
Yeah. And I find that to be really like, they gave something that nobody thought they could be fulfilled with. No, like Star Trek audience members, like, yeah, this is all we got. We got Picard, we got everybody. They're a nice crew and all, but they're just not as adventurous as other folks. And then you get Galaxy Quest, and you're like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of Star Trek film I want to see. I want more of this.
Every day, baby.
Every day. I mean, like, do you like? How do you feel about that comment? You relate at all?
As I was not in that zeitgeist at the time, so I couldn't relate to it on that level. But I watched the movie and I remember really, really enjoying it. But I had seen that at least for First Contact years ago, and I remember I liked First Contact. I thought it was a good movie, but
yeah,
you're right, it wasn't really an adventure.
No,
even when you go back and you look at,
even though First Contact is probably the most adventurous TNG movie,
right? But yeah, because even in Insurrection, even though you're dealing with the whole, actually no, I'm so sorry. Yeah, First Contact did have the Borg in it. You're right. I'm sorry. Insurrection was a little different. Insurrection had a different
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, he was so good in that.
The Picard clone.
The Picard clone. Was he in Insurrection or was he in Nemesis?
Nemesis.
He was in Nemesis. Insurrection was the planet that they thought was a class M planet, but it turned out to be a planet full of technologically advanced people that decided to do away with it, but stay there. Whole nother thing. But you're right. There wasn't that much adventure in those Next Generation movies, especially compared to your, the second from Wrath of Khan all the way up to the Undiscovered Country. Hell, even the first movie had a sense of adventure in it. It was just a very slow paced adventure, but it was still an adventure nonetheless. So you're right. You're completely correct. There wasn't anything like that in our modern Star Trek movies up until Galaxy Quest came out. And you went, right. That's what I want. I want more of this. I want more adventure. I want them to be diplomatic. But when it comes down to ass kicking, they're going to ass kick.
Exactly. But I'm also glad that this was also a standalone film at the same time. Like, I'm glad it gave me the self-fulfillment of Star Trek and all the good glory stuff, of the golden age stuff. But like at the same time, it was like, all right, we're one and done. I'm like, that's the way you should do it. One and done. Let's not call it anything else.
Right.
It's like, when am I going to get Galaxy Quest?
It's a one-night stand of Galaxy Quest, baby.
It's like the sequel is just going to be about the aliens trying to get social security cards, and it's like not going to be as adventurous as the first one.
You know, funny enough, this is another fun fact, but there is a comic book series that continues the adventure, and they came out not that long ago.
Is that right?
And they're already talking about making a Galaxy Quest TV show.
Wait, like the TV show that was with, like the movie that was within the TV show?
No, I think it's going to be the actual story of this cast members being thrown into a actual sci-fi situation.
Is Paramount doing that, or like Netflix?
I don't know. I only read very little about it but I did want to at least mention it on this episode that there is a lot of expanded universe things happening with Galaxy Quest recently. I'm actually thinking about reading the comic just because it's called The Journey Continues, and I want to read it. It's only $9 right now. Kind of just want to buy it.
How many issues?
It's a limited series, 4 or 5 issues, but there's three or four volumes that they've done. That
Interesting.
I do want to check. I do want to check them out just to see what they exposit upon. I'm interested. I want to know what they do. Good or bad, I don't know if it's canon.
I kind of wanted to too, but at the same time, it's like I remember how I traveled that road, like with Back to the Future, and I was just like, I really didn't know anything. I didn't want to know any more about this stuff. Like for instance, like how Doc and Marty became friends, and it was just like to me, the way I looked at it was just like in the opening credits of Back to the Future, like you saw like Burger King product placement in Doc's place, and then you realize Doc lives next to a Burger King, and it just so happens that Marty's brother works at a Burger King. So I was like, oh, let me put one to one together. Marty was probably bummed out talking to his brother about needing some cash. Doc Brown was like, you need cash, I'll help you out. You got a video camera? And he's just like, I think so. He goes, great. Bring your video camera. Let's film some stuff.
It could be taken so many ways. That's funny. Yeah, but you're right. Okay. But yeah, they didn't need to. Yeah. I don't really care for when TV shows do that either, where they fill in gaps that you could have.
It's not needed half the time.
It really is. And I will, right now I'm watching a show that is notorious for doing that. It's called Titans.
The
DC
Junior Superhero Titans.
Yeah. They do that a lot on the live action series where they decide we're gonna do an episode going back in the past about some of these characters or what. And I go, I don't care. I end up skipping the episode altogether and going, I'll just wait for the next episode.
Yeah, it's like anytime I see the stuff with Hawkgirl, I'm just like, I'm sorry, I just don't believe that this character is this. Like none of this makes me feel like great. Like half the characters in the show, I'm just like, you guys could have a little bit of a better story or a better character arc that you're grappling with, as opposed to being so bleak.
Right. It sometimes there's points where it tries hard and I see that very much.
Especially when they get to the Wayne stuff.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Before we let's move on. All right, so we want to go through production facts. Booyah.
Yeah, let's go through production.
I'm gonna punch you with it, baby. So this is a DreamWorks production.
Yeah, it is. A defunct production company now.
a defunct production company now. The movie
Headed
released
by Steven Spielberg.
Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Yes.
He also worked on Star Trek.
Woo, woo. Good.
There you
go.
He worked on some of the Star Trek movies, Jeffrey Katzenberg, for Paramount. And then the movie was released on December 25th, 1999, which was really disappointing because they didn't want this to be a Christmas film.
No.
But DreamWorks really wanted to push it to be a Christmas film, because I do remember watching this movie on my Christmas vacation when I was in school. When I was out. Yeah, I remember I was really excited. So my dad used to take me to the movies all the time. So when there was movies that were coming out around Christmas time, I was so excited because I knew I was going to go watch that during that time off. And this was one of them. And I do have a really good memory of going to see this movie right after opening presents. So it's this way. The movie was budgeted at $45 million.
We see where that money went, though.
Oh yeah, it doubled. It more than doubled in its box office. 90.7 mil is what they got back.
That blue ooze scene where you see Tim Allen go into the spaceship and him traveling at a speed of light that's undetermined by humans yet.
Yeah.
And it's just like going through planets, stars, astro, everything in between in the galaxy. And you're just like, this is amazing.
And a quick fact about that was the movie was shot in 3 different aspect ratios. I'm not going to get into the details of those ratios, but the first one was
165.
Yeah, something like that. The first
235.
I don't know. Anyway, so then one was a short aspect ratio, smaller aspect ratio, which was to mimic the fact that you're watching a television show. Then
so 4.6.
Something like that. And then it widens out to where you're in the real world.
Yeah.
And then what happened was when Tim Allen was being launched back to Earth from the ship, it widens out even further.
So that could have been a 235.
And a lot of so there was a point where they had to send the film to the projectionist with notes on it that at certain minute marks they had to widen out the curtains as a part of the effect, because a lot of them didn't get that memo. And I can't recall if that ever happened when I went to go see it, because I can only remember just watching the movie and just laughing my ass off a lot.
Yeah.
So there's a little fun fact about the aspect ratio in that movie.
But it's fun when you get to watch it off your own home screen too.
Oh yeah, I know.
You got to see those transitions.
I saw the transitions, and I until someone pointed it out to me, I went, "Oh my god, I never noticed that before." It's really funny.
There's a lot of sneaky stuff they do in this film that you don't see, but upon rewatching, you're like, "Oh, this is actually really clever."
Yeah. So, movie was produced by Mark Johnson and Charles Neuwirth, who are known for Ant-Man and Wasp, Gus and Mississippi, and Forrest Gump. Story was by David Howard.
It's a hell of a lineup.
Yeah, it is.
You got Ant-Man and Forrest Gump.
Right? Story by David Howard, who only did 2 movies. He has nothing else that he's ever done.
So he's done this?
And then something else called Trek the Movie, I think. And it's about Mormons. The movie was written by David Howard and Robert Gordon, who is known for Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow and Addicted to Love and Men in Black 2.
Ooh.
Now, this gets really interesting. Production designer is Linda DeSena, who did Star Trek the Motion Picture and Blade Runner. The movie was edited by Don Zimmerman, known for Bill and Ted, Face the Music, Liar Liar, Patch Adams, Rocky IV, and music by David Newman.
Oh, the montage movie.
Oh, hell yeah. Music by David Newman, who did Brave Little Toaster, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, and Critters. And visual effects was done by Industrial Light and Magic.
Oh, yeah, it shows.
Yeah.
Especially when they get to that one planet trying to pick up the orb.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all ILM. I was just like, this looks very familiar in a good way.
Oh, you know what I didn't really do? We didn't go through some of the other cast members. So Mathesar was played by Enrico Colantoni.
Just shoot me.
Just shoot me. Quellic was played by Patrick Bean. Teb was played by Jed Rees. Lyra was played by Missy Pyle. Neru was played by Sam Lloyd. Lonk played by Rainn Wilson, who has a 2-minute appearance in this. It was actually his film debut way before The Office. And Brandon was played by Justin Long. His friend was played by Jeremy Howard. And the second lieutenant, Lath, was played by Wayne Perry. And then the main villain, Saris, played by Robin Sachs. Robin Sachs is known for Babylon 5, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Which Buffy?
The TV series. He played one of the villains. Yeah, and that's our cast. That's some of our production facts on that. There's some other fun facts here. So originally Harold Ramis wanted Kevin Kline to play this role.
That seems so wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I cannot. I love Kevin Kline. I think he's fantastic when he does work.
There's too much joy in his deliveries, where if I was to watch him be like a sci-fi captain, just be like, I'm not buying this shit.
I couldn't buy it. I'm glad they went. I'm glad the director. Did I not write down the director on this? Yes, I did. Director was Dean Parasot, known for famed Home Fries and Bill and Ted Face the Music.
A lot of Bill and Ted there.
A lot of Bill and Ted here. And yeah, and Dean Parasot just wanted Tim Allen. Give him Tim Allen, he said.
It's the best choice you can make.
That was the best choice. And Tim Allen, being a sci-fi junkie, was already into it.
Oh, definitely. And it was so up his alley to do too. I mean, playing that kind of role. I mean, like watching him do this is like not too many steps away from watching him do Buzz Lightyear.
It wasn't. Not too far off.
Not too far, but not the same thing either.
All right.
It's got that
little. But Tim Allen delivers a great character throughout this entire film, who has this arc of being full of himself to doing things by himself to now knowing that he wasn't a solo person, that he works better with his team, with his cast members. And it shows throughout the whole film, and he was just fantastic in it. However, this movie was originally trying to be shot as a PG movie. Or no, I'm sorry. They were originally wanting it to shoot it as a PG-13 movie, but DreamWorks, after seeing the release of Rugrats, the movie, wanted to get it down to a PG rating instead. So there's a lot of things cut out to even put it into making it more of a family-friendly movie around the Christmas time, which a lot of the cast and crew members were just not into at all, to the degree that Sigourney Weaver, when they're being presented with a very intense and precarious, dangerous, life-threatening situation, she says, well, screw that. But if you look at it carefully, she is saying, well, fuck that. And she was doing that as a protest, and they had to just dub it over at some point. And that was some of the production notes that they had to go through, or the production obligations they had to go through with making this movie, to have it be a whole family-friendly Christmas movie. Any thoughts on that, Spencer?
I like when you give artists to work in a box and you see what they do within that box. And like, yeah, this is a film that like got put into a box for for all because of company reasons. This movie was put into a box,
right?
And it's impressive that so many guidelines that a studio had managed to, and the artists and the people that worked on this film managed to produce something that was way more exciting than anybody could ever think of. And I mean, I think Sigourney Weaver, the dialogue, all the stuff you were mentioning before, I mean, like you know that everyone showed up to work happy, right? And like you could tell after every scene you watch this movie, like you're more invested than the scene before.
Yeah.
and it's endearing. It's so endearing. Like, I don't see films like this anymore, or at least they're few and far between of what they used to be.
Mhm.
And this is like one that I felt like touched a lot of people, like not just the sci-fi fans, not just the Star Trek fans, but just like fans of film overall.
Yeah. Okay.
And like that is something that I found to be the most cultish thing about Galaxy Quest, is how it prevailed to overcome all these obstacles, and then not only prevailed in overcoming them, but made it seem like it never had to be an issue to begin with. And yeah.
Okay. Elaborate.
Like, for instance, you were talking about like they had to make this more of a PG when they kind of wanted to work for PG-13 or R, and to watch how they could kind of edit around that and make it what it needed to be, like that's impressive, because I don't think you could really see that excluding the screw that scene.
Right, and it is a very much a kid-friendly movie, I mean it's a kid-friendly movie that anybody of any age can enjoy.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a sci-fi fan. You could be a whatever fan. You're going to enjoy this movie.
You like an adventure? It's got adventure. You want some romance? It's got a little bit of that, baby.
It's got a really fun romance to it.
It does. I mean,
what's that wonderful actress from Dodgeball in this?
Yeah, Missy Pyle.
Like, dude, her physical comedy is just, I don't think it gets recognized enough. Like, her physical comedy, how she performs in front of the screen, because like every time she's on the screen, like I'm always laughing out loud, and she never says much to make me laugh out loud, but it's all in the body performance.
Yeah, and all the Marians did such a good job with all the physical acting they had to do. Especially
the way they came up with the body language, like
right,
like the whole thing of like looking like you have scoliosis, but making it seem natural, and then like coming up with this high-pitched voice where it's like if you're fucking hungover from the night before, you don't want to hear it no matter what. Like in Jason's case, when he's like opening up his screen door and he's just like, yeah, okay, yeah, send me this shit, no problem. Where's the limo? Like, give me a half hour, we'll be ready.
I'm listening. I'm just closing my eyes, but I'm listening.
Her voice box is broken. And she's just loud screeching sound.
That's my best Lalaurie impersonation.
That's a great Lalaurie impersonation. I would have casted you if it was today's times.
You are only hope.
Who is that? What was that? Jared? Who was the one that was really having the father-like connection with Rickman's character, Alexander Payne?
It was Quellic, I think.
Quellic, dude. That character was the guy role in the film.
Yeah.
Like, what guy was always afraid of being in the whole film? It was like, it was great because you're so distracted by him actually happening to die in a film, where it's like, no, it's actually this real guy film. And you're like, oh. And then after you see, and like, I gotta admit, like, his death is nothing to me because like, I was attached to the character, but like, I don't know what the fucking guy's background was. Like, he could have had kids, I don't know. But it was more or less the dying words and him being like, I am such a fan of your work. And he's just like, shit, this guy died being my greatest fan. I have to, like, to the point where he sees me as a father figure, where it's like, I have to muster up my energy to get my balls back together and kick some ass.
Yeah. I think when he delivers that line, I got a little teared up. Oh
my God, I cry every time. I cry
by
Grabstar's
hammer, by Warson's son. I like, you shall be avenged. That whole
thing. Yeah. Even the point where they do the chant when they're trying to open up the door to get the oxygen sealed up in the room. like I don't know what fucking chant they're doing, but like I'm just tearing up at it. I don't know why. I just tear up all the time, and I'm like, this shouldn't be working on an emotional investment level, but for some reason it is.
He does a really, and the whole purpose of that whole death scene was to give Alan Rickman an arc that, okay, I have to now. You're right. I got to find my balls and put them back on and be this character again.
Yeah.
Right. How the way
yeah.
how the way Nimoy had to step up after doing Wrath of Khan. He goes, all right, I'm all about it.
Yeah, it goes from I'm not Spock to his next book being I am Spock.
Right.
And like the fans just took it the wrong way, which
Mhm.
leads to a really great funny Star Trek sketch on SNL where William Shatner was a guest and he did this panel thing in front of audiences and it was like all SNL members dressed up as Star Trek fans. And I think it's John Lovitz is like, Mr. Shatner, can you explain why in season 2, episode 16, the energy field was like this, and it wasn't for the other one in episode 1 of season 1 of episode 3? William Shatner's like, guys, it's just a TV show. And like and like I can't explain that enough, but that like went down in pop culture history as being something significant because it was like people really thought like he was dissing the Star Trek audiences, and he was like, "Dude, I was just reading a line for a punchline. Like I really don't believe it to be this way, but I thought it was funny to do it this way."
Right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he got this gig when he was directing Final Frontier.
I'm gonna have to look that. I'm gonna have to look that up one day. All right. Let's move. I kind of want to bring up this as a fun fact, but the people at the ILM, when they were helping out with producing this, doing the CGI and practical effects of this movie, one of the things they did was they had to call it the NTE 3120, and NTE stood for not the Enterprise. So if Paramount ever tried to go into a copyright infringement, they go, no, it's not the Enterprise. That's right there on the ship.
Oh, that's terrific.
Isn't that just great? And I want to talk about something.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now Dean Parisson has gone on record saying, I did not have this as an intention, but the rock monster that Tim Allen fought, everyone took it as like it's supposed to be the rock monsters from the Final Frontier that Bill Shatner wanted.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I took it too.
Dean Parisson has gone on record saying that was not my intention. But you can't help but see the fact that no, they were supposed to be rock monsters in the Final Frontier. You got them. You got exactly what Bill wanted, and you got it, and you got a whole rock monster fight scene. That's what Bill Shatner wanted for Final Frontier, baby. Tim Allen got to do it.
But William Shatner can never pull that scene off like Tim Allen did.
Oh, Tim Allen was great. And the acting alone and how
and he's got this build. He's got, it's a shame because superhero movies today have this physique of a body now that's almost impossible to like kind of achieve or maintain. But like there's something about like Tim Allen in Galaxy Quest, and even like Kurt Russell in Escape from New York. Like they had these bodies where they were like toned, but by no means they were like
jacked.
Body. Yeah, they weren't jacked. It wasn't like some kind of body that you had to obtain through like years and years of progression. It was like, no, like you can obtain this in like 6 months and you'll look like you're in good shape and lean.
Change up your diet, do some push-ups, do some crunches, do some squats. You'll get a body somewhere around here. You'll get it's achievable.
It's achievable. And then it's like you just get this and it's just like you get this with Tim Allen and it looks good, right? And then it's like you kind of think about William Shatner and like I'll tell you, man, William Shatner had a fucking beer belly for most of those Star Trek movies, but for some reason he always managed to make it work. Even when he was doing a kickflip in Search for Spock.
I forgot about that.
A lot of people wanted to.
Forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me. Fantastic. All right. So did you know that this movie, it is regarded as a love story to Star Trek and Star Trek fans, right? And even a writer himself, David Mamet, has gone on record in a book that he wrote called Bambi versus Godzilla on the nature, purpose, and practice of the film business. He lists 4 films that are important. Now, this is opinion. by one filmmaker and film writer, but this is his opinion, and it kind of just shows the impact. He says these are the 4 movies that are a must watch. Number 1 is Godfather. 2 is A Place in the Sun. Number 3 is Dodsworth, and number 4 is Galaxy Quest. He goes, these are regarded as the most perfect films in all of history of filmmaking.
I mean, the script is so.
I've never seen Dodsworth, and I've never
Quest.
seen Place in the Sun, but I've seen Galaxy Quest and I've seen The Godfather, and I kind of feel like I know where he's getting at. Because when you really watch The Godfather, it is a very well-paced, well-edited, well-acted film from beginning to end, and everybody delivers as good as it gets. And you see that definitely in Galaxy Quest. It's a well-paced movie. It's very well acted, great direction, great editing, well-paced. And I see why anyone can say that is a perfect film from beginning to end.
From when you see the opening credits in the beginning, it's like there's so much exposition that you like gets unfolded to you within the first 5 minutes or within the opening credits of the movie that like you don't realize how abundant it is. But it's like a lot of information that kind of gets laid out in a short amount of time, but it clicks and it works.
Oh, it works so well to the point that when IGN, the online syndication, polled Star Trek fans, what are the best Star Trek movies? Galaxy Quest comes on number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4. So according to after this poll, this is what they said are the best movies.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 is Wrath of Khan. 2 is First Contact. 3 is Undiscovered Country. Number 4 is Star Trek: The Voyage Home. At number 5 is number 5 it's Search for Spock. Then it's Star Trek the remake, the J.J. Abrams. At number 7 is Galaxy Quest. I was wrong. I said it was number 4, but I correct myself. It came in at number 7, so before Star Trek Generations, and supersedes everything, including in the last 2 movies that are dead last are Final Frontier and Star Trek Into Darkness. And the second Abrams Star Trek movie.
Oh yeah, a lot of people hated it. Into Darkness.
Number 7 is Galaxy Quest. It's right there, right before Star Trek Generations and Star Trek the Motion Picture.
That's pretty incredible.
Yep, this is fans said, nope, this is a Star Trek movie from beginning to end. Fuck you for ever telling me otherwise. This is the reaction that Galaxy Quest has received as being regarded as a Star Trek thing. When you get down to even the cast and the cast members of Star Trek who've watched that film and go, oh my God, this is a Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
Because even they themselves say it is a Star Trek movie through and through.
But it's nothing they could ever do. Like as much as this is a Star Trek movie, there's no way Star Trek could do something like this.
Oh yeah.
They can never become like a self-parody of themselves, being like, "Oh, we're in a television show."
It cannot work if you ever pull.
You can have whales, but you can't have yourselves. Nice. Whales. You can make whales fucking work, but there's no way you could make that work.
Jonathan is so it's funny. Jonathan Frakes watched the movie, calls up Patrick Stewart, tells Patrick Stewart to watch this movie. He goes to see it. Then he calls Brett Spiner to go watch it. And then it keeps going. Then you have Tim Russ, William Shatner seen it, Will Wheaton, Casey Biggs from DS9, and George Takei went to go see it. And each one of them loved the movie. I just love George Takei and how the way he says, like, the way he described it was, I think it's a chillingly realistic documentary. The details in it, I recognize every one of them. It is a powerful piece of documentary filmmaking. And I do believe that when we get kidnapped by aliens, it's going to be the genuine, true Star Trek fans who will save the day. That's my Takei.
Takei's got high hopes, and I like his high hopes.
I love George Takei and how the way he just described this movie, and even Sir Patrick Stuart, when he went to go see, he said he just loved the movie. And he said he laughed so hard watching it that he had to ring up Brent and go, Data, you need to watch the movie. Data, you need to go and watch this movie. It is quite funny.
Oh man, you're really getting into the voices. I like it there.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could do a fracas. Like I can only just do this part. Put up my leg and go, yep, it's a great movie.
Fair enough.
All right. And that about covers all the facts that I had about this movie. What are your thoughts?
At the end of the day, I think this is a movie definitely worth checking out. I suggest it for anybody and everybody. If you're thinking about getting into sci-fi, do it. If you're thinking about just killing time and watching it, do it. Is there a wrong time to watch this film? I think not. I think you could have a middle of like a funeral go through and you could put that on. People would be like, oh yeah, Galaxy Quest.
Oh my God, I love this movie. So great.
I can use a little humor. Yeah, why not?
You're all, oh my God, freaking Javier died, and now we're gonna watch Galaxy Quest today. That's what we're doing. I love this movie. Great
and
movie.
There's that.
You're true. Right. You can watch this movie anytime. It's a movie that holds up even to this very day, and it never got slow. It never got boring. It didn't get old for me. When you go back, you rewatch a movie that's over 20 years old, and you think, okay, is this movie going to hold up? Still holds up.
It does incredibly well. Like, it's funny. Here's another film from 1999 that I could think of that did not work for me. Boondock Saints. When I was younger, early 2000s, mid 2000s, yeah, Boondock Saints. It's a great movie.
I'm all about it.
And then like I don't know, like I haven't seen it since like mid 2000s or a little bit right before like double digits to 2000s.
Yeah.
And then it was like maybe like 3 years or 2 years ago I saw it again and I was just like, what the fuck was I so happy about this movie for? Like this
it's not a great movie.
Not hold up. No.
Not a great movie.
It's a disaster.
And I a lot of people love that film. And I remember when I first watched it, I went, wow, this is a really good movie. And I watched it religiously. And then I stopped watching it, time passed in between the last time I watched it. And I went back and watched it with a friend. And I just went, what the fuck was I thinking? This is not that great of a movie.
No, this is not what I wanted. I thought I wanted this, but this isn't what I wanted. I thought when he shot the cat, it was really cool. Now it's like, he shot the cat.
It's like then the hitman that goes into the house and he kills a whole family so he can take the house. What?
No, it doesn't work.
I mean, the only good part about that movie is Willem Dafoe. He's carrying that movie on his back.
Yeah. If you ever read like the production like history to that film and realize how much influence William Dafoe really had on that set, it's like you won't think twice about it because like he's just like there are things that like were so out of Duffy's element when he was making that movie that like Dafoe had to be like, hey, are you a little confused? And he goes, yeah. He's like, all right, well, let me tell you how to do this scene. And he just like goes through and he's like, oh, thanks, Dafoe. He's like, yeah, no problem. That's an old trick I learned from Scorsese when I was doing like The Last Temptation of Christ.
Wow. All right. Wow. I should read about that one day. But Galaxy Quest still holds up and I love it. And I think it's like I still think it stands as one of the greatest Star Trek movies ever made, to the point that anyone like you said, who owes it to themselves to be a fan of sci-fi or Star Trek, or just is really into a good comedy.
Yes.
This is the movie to watch.
This is the movie to watch. Now, kind of at the end of this episode, and we like to do our little rankings.
You want to do your rankings? Do it, baby.
So, where do you rank Galaxy Quest within the Star Trek series?
Wow. So let me do this really quick. I have my list right here, right by me. So I'm gonna pull it up on from my blog, and I'll tell you what I think where it should fall. Up your butt. All right, here we go.
Goodbye.
Up your butt. All right, so I had Wrath of Khan, Voyage Home, Search for Spock, Undiscovered Country. All right. I would go like this: 1, Wrath of Khan, 2, Voyage Home, 3, The Search for Spock, Galaxy Quest, Undiscovered Country, Motion Picture, Final Frontier.
Oh, okay. So that, by the way, that's a really good lineup you got.
Yeah.
So like like it's different from mine, but like I respect your lineup so much. Like that's got a lot of flavor, interesting bite. It's almost like seafood, like or like sushi. Like it's got all these like different kind of sushi elements to it. You can either have like a nice maki roll, or you could just have like a volcano roll
with actual crab, not that crab with the K bullshit.
No, none of that K bullshit crap. Anyway, so I would go Wrath of Khan, Galaxy Quest, Undiscovered Country, Search for Spock. After Search for Spock, I'll go for Voyage Home. After Voyage Home, I'll go the Motion Picture, and then the Final Frontier.
I love how the Final Frontier is so dead last. It really isn't. It really isn't that great. I feel it once again. I have to just say, Bill was just dealt a bad hand. That's all. Nothing against Bill. He was just dealt a bad hand, and I really feel bad.
It's a bad script.
It was just not a great script, and it wasn't. And it remember it was plagued with production issues. Just tons and tons of rewrites. I'm not gonna get into it, but that's it. That's that's Galaxy Quest, guys.
All right, where can we find you, Lieutenant Leon?
Well, you can always find me at Alternative Zen on Twitter and Alternative_Zen on the gram. Follow my wife on Instagram. She goes by Kitsu Cosplay, spelled KITSU Cosplay, all one word there, baby. And of course, you can find my blog, stillfoxes.home.blog. Hit us up, Captain Spencer.
All right, you can catch me on Reddit at Usher 1999 movies.
Yeah.
And then you could also catch me on Letterboxd, Rufio86.
Bring in some codes really quick.
And then after that, you can find me on Twitter. I love my good old Twitter. You can find me at Yusuf Ross. I would suggest, going Letterboxd first, then Twitter, and then after that, Reddit. But, I'm always looking for people to chat with on Letterboxd. So come on in. Hear what you have to say. I would love for us to discuss some stuff. Always looking for people to talk movies with.
Love it. Like how we're talking movies right now. I know.
Exactly.
Woo! So next is going to be what, Spencer? What's the next movie we're watching?
Star Trek.
We're right back
Generations.
into it. We're right back into it.
We're going to see the past. We're torching in the past. Wait, the passing of the torch.
The passing of the torch. And with that said, we're ending communications. Wait, that's the auto-destruct sequence. All right, guys. Say goodnight, Spencer.
Take care. Have a good night, everybody.
And always be easy.
Always be ABE. Always be easy.
You're welcome, baby.